Hi all and welcome back to my channel. Well, I just got back from Scotland, as you might have guessed from the thumbnail. Right, I only got back yesterday. Now, I want to tell you something, but I'll show you a few clips from a trip while I'm talking, just so it's not just me you're staring at. And it's kind of important because I wish I didn't go. I had a miserable time. I'd say 80% of my trip was miserable and I just didn't want to be there. Want the weather? 90% of the time the weather was fantastic. I'd say that there was only like 20% where I actually got something out of it and enjoyed it. You get me? But it was a miserable trip. Right? Got hassled by the police. Anyhow, the reason why I'm making this sort of like an intro video, right? I haven't edited everything yet. Right, it'll take me hours. I did get a lot of footage, and don't get me wrong, I love Scotland. I saw some amazing views. You get me? Such a beautiful place. Right? I will be going again, but I'll be going a different way, so to speak. I won't be going. Let me explain. Okay, my plan was, and now I've been planning this for a year, and it's cost me a lot of money, right? Because I've been saving up for things like, you think about things, I'm going to need X amount of cash for fuel because I was in my car. That's important, right? And then there's lots of different things I'd bought, and then I'd planned my route. I'd been planning it for weeks and months. Like I said, I've been thinking about this for about a year, but the last 6 months I've really been planning it hard. Right now, roughly, because I'm trying to keep this short, and as I say, I'll put a few clips off if I ain't already started. Right, my basic plan was to drive up to Scotland. I'd found all these different spots I wanted to go to. Right, I'd marked out places where I could park, different like little lay-bars and put my tent up and stuff like that. And I wanted to get parked near near the locks, right, because I was taking my kayak with me, right. I couldn't take my big sea kayak, so I was taking my inflatable kayak, which is fine. I wanted to do some paddling, which I'll tell you right now, I never got to do any kayaking on this trip at all. Didn't happen, right? But so that was a bit annoying. But that was very annoying for me actually, right? And right, so what went wrong, right? Why am I so peed off and wish I never went? Because I do. I wish I never went. Not the way I did. I'd got my plan. So, right, I was going up there for a month, travelling all over the place, right? That got switched round to 2 or 3 weeks. So 2 or 3 weeks I was going up for. I lasted 6 days. 2 or 3 weeks to 6 days. I'd had enough. I was sick. I was sick of it. I was so frustrated and angry. Okay, day one. Right? Day one. I show up there, that's a mistake. It took me 8 hours to get to my spot. Now, my plan one, drive to the Three Sisters, right? If you don't know where that is, it's somewhere near Fort William. It's not a million miles, it's before you get to Fort William. But when I show the actual videos, the clips, I'll try and put some map photos up. But whatever, I'm trying not to waffle. I'm having to do this because my footage, my SD card got full. I didn't see the notification of it later on in the trip, and what it does is rewrite the earlier footage. So day one, completely no footage from day one. It's been overwritten. Right, so I'm having to tell you this anyway. Okay, right, day one. Drive up to the Three Sisters. My plan is, right, either stop at the Three Sisters or just nearby, pitch my tent down there somewhere, and the next day go for a hike. right? Maybe like the Hidden Valley or around the Three Sisters anyway. Now this was my plan. I get to the Three Sisters, right, after about 8 hours. Now I get there at about 8, 8:30 at night, and it was really busy, and I didn't expect it to be at that time. Really busy. Now where I wanted to camp, I'll simplify it, it was impossible where I wanted to camp, right? Not to mention these cars and vans had pulled up, they was getting barbecues out, music box, that's an old word, old man, music box, right, guitars, and I thought, I can't sleep here. So I thought to myself, I'll go down about 2 miles to the next lay-by, right, I'll pull in there and see if I can get some kip there. Get to that one, right, and the roadworks, and it was closed, there was big bloody diggers and tractors there or whatever. So I thought, oh God, what am I going to do now? Luckily, I saw a sign saying campsite. Now, I didn't really want to be stopping at campsites, right? Because, you know what I mean? Well, I've got all the camping gear with me. But I thought, it's about 9 o'clock at night now. It's getting late. I'll go to this campsite. So I follow this. You come off the main road completely. And I'm going up and I'm on this small little road. And I get to this area and it looks like I could see in the background there were these motorhomes and stuff. So I knew I was at the right place. And there was like a pub, like cabins and stuff like that. It looked real nice actually. So I go in and I'm messing about for nearly half an hour in there trying to find the right person to ask. Nobody knew where I can put my tent. And it turns out I'm not allowed to put my tent there. They only allow motorhomes. Don't ask me. So I said, have you any ideas round here where I might be able just to pitch my tent? Right? No, not round here. Your best bet is the campsite at Fort William, right, called Glen Nevis. Glen with a G, not Ben Nevis, even though it's near Ben Nevis, it's called Glen Nevis campsite. So I thought, bugger it, anywhere will do, right? Because by this time now it's about 10 o'clock at night, right? And as you can imagine, right, so that's like that'll be like nearly 10 hours I've been on the road. So I thought, right, sod it, right? Told us where it is. I'll cut this short. I get there, right? There's a lot more to that, but I get there, right? And it's about 11:15 at night. Talk to a guy, yeah, fine. He sticks me in a spot, right? Tiny little spot, so packed it was, surrounded by tents and stuff, but I'd got a spot, right? By this time it was raining, but who cares? So I get this little spot, right? Next day, about 7 a.m, I get up and I think, right, forget yesterday, I'll start my trip now. Alright, I'll start my trip now. I shoot off to this first place where I planned on going, not to sleep, right, it's a castle, right. I've got video footage, I've got some drone footage of that actually, pretty good shot. But, even though I've got some footage of this, I'll just give you a quick rundown. I get there, the place is closed till later on. I would have had to wait about 3 hours, right? So I thought, sod it. Now after the day before, I was still buggered anyhow, as you can imagine. So I thought, I'll go to like what would be my second camp spot. Because I wasn't going all the way back to the Three Sisters. I thought to myself, I'll stop at the Three Sisters on the way home and do that hike last instead of doing it first. Right, but I leave the castle area after getting some video. Right, leave the castle area and I go around to where I want to park near this lock. Right, and it's perfect. There's a little bit I park and just go for a quick walk around the lock, and then I drive round to the parking area that I'd planned to stop at, way off the road, I pull in there, right, and you can tell where people have camped before because they'd had fires on the ground, which I don't agree with, but that's beside the point. I pull in there, Right, I'm there, pitch my tent, right, beautiful day, gorgeous weather. So I brought 2 tents with me. I brought my pop-up tent, right, just for ease of use. I also brought me, shall we call it a storm tent, right, my 3FUL Lanshanto. Right, and anyhow, I picked a pop-up tent, all my gear out, had a coffee, sat there for about 4 hours, and basically the police turn up. And I'm given a leaflet, my registration number was taken, and this is where things go bad. It's all in here, but I'll tell you, right? See if you've seen that booklet. I don't know if you're leaving. There's no point in me because you won't see the information. So I'll give you a quick bit of information. The bottom line is, it is in Scotland illegal to park a vehicle and put a tent next to it. Now, if I had a rooftop tent on my car, I don't know why I did that then. If I had a rooftop tent on my car, fine. If I was in a motorhome, fine. If I was in a transit van that I had put a bed in, fine. But you are not allowed to park your car and put a tent. And the person I was speaking to was very, very polite. Right? They even said if I was hiking and stopped there and pitched my tent, fine. But there's nowhere in Scotland where you can park your vehicle and put a tent up next to it, and it's all in there. Right? There's nowhere in Scotland where you can, apart from designated campsites. Right? And with them taking my registration number, they warned me, very politely, but they warned me, they said, if you decide to go somewhere else and do the same and a police officer sees you, they're not going to give you, just give me a warning this time. They're not going to give you a warning. They'll see your registration number, they'll see you've already been warned, and you'll end up with a hefty fine, right, of up to £1,000. So I thought, I'm screwed. Right, well, I wasn't screwed, but from then on, I had to go only in campsites. Now, I hated the idea of that. A campsite for an emergency is fine. I wanted to be up in Scotland by myself, letting my brain drift, you know what I mean, sit out in the wilderness, all alone, by myself, and just take it all in. Like last year, I don't know if you know, right, last year I went up to Scotland, I went to Lochaw, went in my kite, paddled out to a little island. I was there about a week again on this little island, all by myself basically, and I had a fantastic time. But this time I thought I'll go in the car and just travel around. Well, it turned out to be a nightmare. Like I said, I got some fantastic footage, beautiful scenery, people were so friendly. Even like the police officers, so friendly about it, but it was a case of tough. It's the law. And I ended up, I went up the west side, like near, I didn't go all the way up Skye, right, but we'll say on the edge, right, but then I travelled all the way up, and I was having to stop at different campsites every single time. Now, 2 of the campsites, we'll go backwards. The last one at John O'Groats, right? That kind of was my favourite because I was way, way, way away from any other tents. I was no wonder though, because I was right on the cliff edge and the winds were 40 mile an hour, right? In fact, I was panicking a bit. I was sat in the car at one point watching a film because, you get me. And my tent was like just outside the window there, outside the car. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh no. Right. But there was a few other tents, but further down, so to speak. Don't know where I put it. I had a picture, but whatever. You'll see it in videos. But so that campsite, very expensive, I found. Well, the most expensive out of the lot, but it's John O'Groats, so. But yeah, so that campsite wasn't too bad because I was kind of in the middle of nowhere, but I was only there one night. But there was another one, right, and I actually decided to go for a run there. But I would have actually stopped there 2 or 3 nights because it was beautiful, it was clean, it was gorgeous. In the videos you'll see it, right? But it was fantastic. Unfortunately, there was nothing to do there. There was nothing to do. The tents weren't too bad, you see. All the other campsites, I could open my tent, reach out and touch another tent. It was that busy. You get me? It was that busy. So I hated it. I hated that. I couldn't sit outside my tent and relax because loads of other people sat outside their tents gabbing away, and no offence, but they'll start talking to you, and when you want peace and quiet, that's no good, right? But anyway, but yeah, this particular one, like I said, where I went for a run, I mean, it was a beautiful sight. They had everything you can imagine, right? From washing machines to spotless toilets, spotless showers. There was even a bar at the top of the campsite, but there was nothing to do, right? There was no mountains nearby to go for a hike. You could go down and walk along the beach, I suppose, but I just went for a run round. So I moved on from there. I moved on to John O'Groats. But the bottom line is 6 different campsites I had to stop in. And really, I hated all of them to a degree because none of them was where I wanted to be. I had all these places planned out. All these, like I said, 2 or 3 weeks I was meant to be up there. I was planning on going to John O'Groats, but I wasn't meant to get there for at least 10 or 11 days. And I was there on day 5. It just, yeah, I mean, and it's like one campsite, which you'd have seen a clip, right, near the beach and the sunset and stuff. That was a beautiful spot. Went for a hike up some big hills. You can't call them mountains, right? Big hills, right? But that was a beautiful spot. But where I was pitched, I could only stay there the one night. Then the owner wanted me to move my tent, and the place where he wanted me to move my tent was like that, basically, on the side of a hill. I said, well, I'm not putting a tent up there. I'll never sleep. I'll be sliding everywhere. Not to mention there's ticks all over the place, but whatever. Right, so I had to leave there, and yeah. And the bottom line is, I'll end it with this, right? I left John O'Groats, and my plan was I'm driving all the way back down. I'm going to camp out Inverness, or near Inverness. I stopped at one place. The tent area was full, but there's another one at the bottom of Inverness. Alright, fine. Alright, so I drive down to the bottom of Inverness. I did stop and had a quick drone flight over Loch Ness. Didn't see any beasties. I didn't see any wee beasties. No, so I drive down to the bottom of Inverness. Campsite there. There's motorhomes and stuff. Oh, we don't allow tents. Not on the motorhome thing. And they said, oh, you can go camping up there. I'm with my car. You know what I mean? And before anyone says, why don't you just park up somewhere, go hike and leave your car and then come back? You see, I was planning on 2 or 3 weeks. I had everything in my car, and I had loads and loads of expensive camera gear, right, which I couldn't take everything with me in a backpack up a bloody mountain to camp. Not to mention, I had loads of gear with me because I was planning on 2 or 3 weeks, and it was meant to be, I'd even bought some new fishing gear, right? It was meant to be car, tent, middle of nowhere, relax, chill out, you know what I mean? But yeah, So from after Loch Ness, the second part at the bottom, I thought, oh, sod this. I was getting so frustrated, right? And I thought, I'm off home. And I passed the Three Sisters again, right? And the car park was packed, right? I'll see if I can put a picture up of that as well. But the car park was packed. And even if I could have got a spot, it was raining, which is now, I know, I had all rain gear, so I wasn't worried about that. You expect it to rain in Scotland, right? But you know when you've had one of them weeks and you think, oh, you know what I mean, I'm going to get soaking wet, I can't get changed because I'm just going to have to get back into the car, and then I'm going to have to go drive somewhere, find somewhere to get changed. And I'd had enough. I'd literally had enough. So I kept going and I drove home. It took me, I think it was 14 hours from John O'Groats back to here. I just drove in one go. And I just drove all the way home. And that's why I'm a bit tired. I got home. I left John O'Groats at about 7 a.m. and I got home about 9 p.m. So, what was that? 14 hours. I'm still sort of like tired, but yeah, 14 hours in one go brought me back to my truck driving days. But yeah, so didn't have a good time. There was moments I enjoyed the walk up the big hills, right? And I must admit, I just looked at a few clips. There is some beautiful scenery and some nice footage and stuff. I'll see if I ain't already put a little video clip up of the hills looking over the sea, because the sea was like blue and green, and it was great. But yeah, it was just one of them things. I wish I hadn't have gone, right? Or I wish I'd have known before leaving, because apparently if I'd have slept in my car, that'd have been fine too. Yeah. If you're in a vehicle, you can stop basically anywhere and sleep the night, but you cannot put a tent up next to your car. I did not know that, and I'll tell you what, I bet, well, I won't say thousands because thousands of people don't watch my videos, but I bet, right, 90% of the people that watch this didn't know that either. Right, so hiking, camping, no problem, right? Motorhomes, rooftop tents, or cars that you've swapped around and got a bed in the car and stuff like that, no problem, right? But if you're thinking of parking your car somewhere and putting a tent up, right, there's a good chance you're gonna get well, the first time you'll get a warning probably, like I did. But if you're planning on doing sort of like what I was doing, it's going to have to be campsite after campsite after campsite after campsite. I'll say one thing, it's not just straightforward as well. It's not just, right, I'm here, I'll drive to that next campsite. Because at least 6, well, maybe 4 or 5. 4 or 5. 4 or 5 of the actual campsites I went to said they're full. So then I had to go find somewhere else. So in a way, I did a lot more driving than I was expecting to do, and I know I spent a hell of a lot on fuel. I'll tell you that right now, a hell of a lot on fuel. And then you had about another, I'd say about another £120 to pay for parking, right, campsite parking. All the different sites, it come to about 120 quid. Yeah, paying for the overnight parking. But yeah, so there you go then. So as I said, I've lost the video from my first day. So the footage that I'll film actually starts right from a bit of that castle that I was on about, and then my campsite where I got told to move. Right, and I mentioned that in the video. So that'll be the first video and that'll be coming as soon as I get it edited. I just wanted to mention this, tell you what's been going on and stuff like that. Right, I'm going to leave this one here, right, and what I'll do is, I've got a lot of footage, but I'll do them, I won't do huge long videos, I'll do shorter videos, but I'll put them all in one playlist, right, I'll call it my Scotland trip from hell or something like that. But I just want to point out one more time, I love Scotland, I will go back again, it's a beautiful place, beautiful people, right, I do really like Scotland, and I would have had a fantastic time. I'd still be up there now. Right? It's just one of them things. Because of this law, and I didn't know about it, it's just ruined my entire trip, and I wish I hadn't have gone. Right. Okay then, right, I'll leave this one here. Hope you enjoy all the footage to come, and I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching. 24 minutes, so oops, definitely leave this one here. Right, catch you later, and cheers.